Hello everyone, I am Chetna from Get My Harvest. How have you been? Today's video is special. It is based on popular demand. It's for all you beginners in gardening who want to know some tips for maintaining your plants. I wish I had known all these things when I started gardening, but then I made mistakes and I learned from them, and I'm going to share all those experiences with you today. So stay tuned. Before we dive in, I must thank you for subscribing to Get My Harvest. Well, if you haven't, then you must. Please click on the bell icon as well so that you can get notified whenever I post my new videos. The first tip that I would want to share with all you beginners in gardening is about understanding when to repot your plant. The first sign that your plant needs repotting is when the roots of the plant start coming out of the bottom holes of the pot, the drainage hole of the pot. So that would mean that the plant needs to go into a bigger pot. Another sign would be that when you're watering the plant, the water starts coming out of the bottom hole almost immediately. That would mean that there are more roots and less soil. So your plant would need repotting. Another mistake that I used to do with repotting when I began gardening was that whenever I would buy a plant from the plant nursery, I would want to repot it immediately to my favorite pot or planter. And that used to end up killing my plants, and I used to wonder that why did that happen? So then I slowly realized that I ended up changing the home of the plant as well as the environment. So one should wait for repotting that nursery bought plant to a favorite container of yours or to a pot. You could either place that plant with that plastic bag inside a pot or just let it stay like that for a few days because it needs to adjust to the new environment. The second tip for beginners in gardening is to remember to loosen the soil around your plants, whether in pots or in the garden bed. This is especially important for clayey soils. You have to make sure that the moisture as well as the air or the oxygen is able to reach to the roots of the plant, and that can happen only when you loosen the soil of the plants. And how do you loosen the soil? Well, I've already done a video on gardening tools for beginners, and I talked about a hand trowel or a khurpi. You could use that for bigger containers or garden beds, and a firm fork or a kitchen fork if you're growing something indoors and you're growing it in a very small container. The third very important tip for beginners in gardening is that you must not throw away your dried leaves and the grass clippings after you have mowed your lawn, because these not only retain the moisture for your plants, but they're also a very good source of nutrition. So you can put them as mulch around your trees and plants, and they would make sure that your plants also do not suffer damage due to excessive cold or heat. I have already done a video on using grass clippings for making the grass tea, if you remember. I'm going to share the link for that video in the description. And very recently, I also released a video about using your dried leaves as mulch around garlic. So these things have a lot of use, but your Maali will prefer collecting all of them and burning them, but that would waste a lot of nutrition. So make sure you're putting these to use. Instead of burning these leaves and grass clippings, you could add them to the compost bin. So that would add to your compost, and anyways, burning them would cause a lot of air pollution, which would end up harming the environment. A lot of viewers share that their Maali or gardener tends to kill their plants by overwatering. So it is very important that you don't overwater your plants. It is even more important than preventing underwatering. The best way to know that your plant needs to be watered or not is to stick a finger in the pot and then see if any soil sticks to your finger. If the soil is sticking, it means the plant doesn't need to be watered. And if no soil sticks, then you need to water your plant thoroughly. Don't try to give little bit of water and then wait for it to again dry. Whenever you water, water thoroughly and then wait for it to dry completely. If adequate watering is an issue for you, I would recommend using self-watering pots. They have a reservoir at the bottom, and this tray, it gets attached to the main plant, to the main pot, and the plant can absorb the water on regular intervals. I have already done a DIY demo and a blog post on self-watering pots. I'll be sharing the link for both in the description below. Another tip that your Maali won't give you is that there are loads of plants that can be propagated from cuttings. So they will be happy when you get new plants from the plant nursery, but actually you can multiply the plants that are already growing inside your house. I have already done a video on how to grow golden pothos or money plant from cuttings. I have also done a propagation a video for plants like arrowhead, the royo plant, and I've also done it for jade plant, the snake plant. There are loads of plants that you can multiply in your own home, so you do not have to spend a lot of money trying to buy new plants from plant nurseries. Another tip for beginners in gardening is to prune your plants to make them look healthier and bushier. Pruning stimulates growth from multiple points in a plant. I have already talked about a pruner as an important gardening tool in one of my previous videos. I'm going to share that link with you. If you have hedges or ficus growing and you need to put that into some kind of shapes, you can use the Black & Decker hedge trimmer for that. But make sure that you hold any pruning or cutting during winters. You should not be pruning a lot because the plant growth slows down. The final tip that's very close to my heart is that of talking to your plants. Do plants talk? They are living things, aren't they? If you observe your plants carefully, they will tell you what went wrong, what went right, what do they need, what is not happening correctly with them. For instance, the wrinkled jade plant will tell you that it needs coffee and water. A healthy rose flower will thank you for pruning it at the right time and for giving it the right amount of nutrition and sun. I hope my experiences and tips will come to your rescue when you do gardening. Please let me know in the comments section below. If you've liked this video, please share it with at least 5 friends of yours to spread the joy of gardening. I will also be very happy to answer any questions or take any suggestions from you via the comments section. Thank you for taking out time for watching this video.